What up? What up? Welcome back. I am B. Ryder. It's my co-host,
J. Bell.
And this is Final Thoughts. Today's topic, Dr. Umar Part 2. We are back with it. So, to be the same format as the last one, we'll go through each of Dr. Umar's claims that he made on the Breakfast Club interview. And we're going to check the validity of them. Are they truthful or not so much? So, let's check it out.
So if you went out of your way begging black people to vote for you, why haven't we got an executive order or any other activity coming out of the Oval Office from President Biden to protect black people from police?
I agree.
Look what he's doing with the anti-Asian hate. President Joe Biden signed an executive order that is exclusive to Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. I don't have a problem with that. But if you can protect the Asian American and Pacific Islander from violence, why can't you do the same thing for black people? The transgender executive order is not for people of color. It is not for minorities. It is not for disadvantaged communities. Guess who it's for? Transgender. The anti-Asian Pacific Islander hate executive order against hate is not for people of color. It's not for minorities. It's not for disadvantaged Americans. It is exclusively and only for Asian Americans in Pacific Islanders.
Jumping right into it, what was his latest claim? Joe Biden hasn't passed
an executive order to protect black people from police.
Okay.
And, I'd like to give credit where it's due.
I enjoy it too.
This is true.
Absolutely. That is true.
Very true.
But as we said in the last video, it's not as simple as just signing an executive order to protect black people from police. It's one thing to sign an executive order to govern civilians. It's a completely different thing to sign an executive order to govern a government body like police force.
Yeah.
In regards to civilians, right? It's nowhere near that simple. Just like we said in the last one, this is something that involves or needs to involve local government, mayors, governors, that type of thing. Signing an executive order is, you can incentivize people to do stuff, but at the end of the day, if you want real change, you gotta go to local government for this type of thing.
Yeah, trans people got a specific executive order.
Yeah. As we said, trans people got a specific executive order just for them, right?
Yeah.
I think the point he was making is that, like, this was zeroed in on trans people,
right?
And we should have a policy that zeroes in on us. Is what he, I think, is the critique he's level.
I definitely agree with that assessment, and I think that's what he was going for too. Especially when he said that Asian Americans specifically got a law just for them. Right.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he would want it zeroed in on black people.
Yeah.
When he sees something like, well, Asians, stop the Asian hate. This is a hate crime.
Yeah.
That kind of.
It's much easier, and that's the thing that we have to understand. It's much easier to sign an executive order to keep civilians or business owners from discriminating against Asian people or discriminating against trans people than to sign an executive order to keep police from anything virtually in the goings about of their job. So that frustration is like, it's real, Yeah. And understanding that these two things that he did with the Asians and the trans are just easier to do. They really are, So I can't really be mad. And even Dr. Umar said he wasn't mad at it being happened, but he just wants fair treatment for black people, which is a fair thing to ask for,
I would say.
Yeah. No, but definitely, I would say, I can understand Umar's sentiment in this or his frustration in this. I get that. You know, so
yeah. So like I said, we giving credit where credit is due, because I know in the first video we probably went in a little bit,
came off a little harsh, maybe.
But like, he had points, and you can't deny it. You know what I'm saying? The facts are facts.
Asians are just as conservative as middle class white people. It's not entirely correct. Asians have been moving further, more liberal as time has progressed. So the idea that, you know, we should be just as wary of Asians as we are of your average white person is really not true. They and usually it goes from them being like, you have your immigrant Asians, right?
Yeah.
Who initially immigrant over.
Right.
They are usually the conservative ones in their family. But then as the generations progress, they become more and more liberal, which is why today you'll see more Asians or Asian Americans liberal than conservative.
Yeah.
Now their parents and grandparents are more conservative than they are today. But that's why Asians today more than likely are liberal than anything.
Yeah, they have blended families, and they go against the status quo of their family all the time. We know several. You know, and that's okay. And even without just like having a blended family, just their viewpoints, their worldview on certain topics is way more liberal, progressive than it is conservative. And that's who is speaking. That's who's doing the work. You know what I'm saying? It's the younger folks.
Yeah. That's who doing. That's the ones doing the legwork. So
right.
Yeah, but you know, swing and a miss. But hey, moving on.
Kamala Harris is not the vice president by accident. Kamala Harris is the vice president on purpose because America needed to send the nation of India an olive branch to improve their relations, because America can't afford for India to get tight with China or Russia. This is politics. The Congressional Black Caucus can't make Joe Biden do anything for black people, then they need to dissolve themselves. We don't even need them anymore. They're useless.
Do you believe there's any policy or legislation that will stop police executions of black people? Like, you think, like, if they implement the George Floyd Policing Act, will it stop the executions of black people?
That act, but my suspicions are it doesn't really have any teeth in it, because when I look at the act that Nancy Pelosi introduced, the police reform bill, right around the time that the George Floyd riots kicked off, it didn't have no teeth in it. The civil suit payouts come from the police officer's pension, and it comes from the police union, and it comes from the fraternal order of the police. Make them pay. Because you can't tell me that you're going to make black taxpayers pay, you understand, for the criminal behavior of police.
So, do you think Kamala Harris is our vice president because she's Indian? Is that what you think?
That's funny.
Is that what you think?
Because now we crossing into that category where he just goes off the rails, man. Like, we just took some time and gave him,
he was doing so well.
And then you just go and say that, and just, you know, the conspiratorial thinking that he's doing, the reach, you know, the reaching. I'm just like, nah, bro. Nah.
Yeah, nah. Yeah.
Nah.
Like, what evidence do you have to assert the idea that Kamala Harris was chosen as our vice president to make India complacent?
India, yeah. Like,
I don't understand where that, like, why?
Because, you know, all throughout the interview, he'd be like, you know, in 1925, XYZ happened. In 1960, this person. You know, but then he come up and spring because they don't want this to happen. You know, I'm like, well, what evidence do you have? Well, I can look this up,
right,
to
verify,
see if this is maybe something true. Okay, so it's just you getting into this conspiratorial minded way of thinking.
You know,
coupled with his, I guess, other views and just her, like the vice president.
Yeah,
like,
just
don't want India because it's becoming like a big tech spy and all that.
Because
like,
it's becoming, you know, a first.
I laughed.
Country.
I laughed when I first heard that one because I was like, okay, that's a.
Yeah, because it's crazy. Because it's absolutely
put the little foil.
Yes, tinfoil hat all day. Why? That's so.
He got to get the roast too. He got to get the roast too, man. He got to get dragged for stuff.
This makes no sense. I guess we just gonna ignore the fact that all Joe Biden was saying, even during the primaries,
right,
was that I want a black woman as vice president. I think it's time. That's what he said. Right.
You can look it up. You know how he was like in 1925. You look that up.
You can Google it. So I would say that Vice President Kamala Harris is vice president because she's black more than because she's Indian. You know?
Yeah.
Because that's what Joe Biden said that he wanted to do. And he did that purposely to appeal to, you know, the black
minorities.
base.
Yeah.
That's why he did it.
Of course.
You know, so that's just wild. His other statement was that the Congressional Black Caucus hasn't done anything, which I can understand him saying that. It's really complicated because the Congressional Black Caucus doesn't really have the kind of power to enforce laws or policies, right? That's really not what they're there to do. They're really there to bring a conscience and shine a light on issues that are important, especially to black people. Like they shone a light on political prisoners like Nelson Mandela, who might not have gotten the coverage that he needed during that time to acquire his freedom eventually. You know, they fought against Richard Nixon, you know, to give voices to black people. They actually boycotted his State of the Union address and made him come to the table to at least hear out grievances for black people, for black America. So to say that, they don't do anything, or if they can't get the George Floyd bill passed, then they should dissolve themselves, is really kind of ignoring what they've done already and the fight that they have and their purpose. Right. Their purpose isn't to let's pass this law. The Congressional Black Caucus themselves can't do that. But what they can do is that they can vote in a block or withhold their vote from certain things to put eyes on a certain issue that is happening, like apartheid in South Africa or whatnot. They can do that, right? And they have done that before. So to kind of be like, to reduce it to, if they can't do this, they should leave. Like, let's stop. That's not what they're there for. That's not what they've been doing, and that's not gonna happen. So, but anyway, what?
Well said.
I feel like it's just
the George Floyd Policing Act. He said it has no teeth.
Okay, it has no teeth, which is not true. It actually has one of the things that they were talking about in the interview, qualified immunity, right? Limiting qualified immunity for police officers.
Yeah.
That is actually in the bill. I think it also bans chokeholds and reduces or tries to ban no-knock warrants on specific situations, which are all good things for the black community, because these are things that we suffer and die from.
See her name, Breonna Taylor.
Right. That's literally where this came from. So to say that it doesn't have any teeth in it is not true. Clearly he didn't read, and he said that in the interview. He said he hadn't actually read the bill. He just assumed that it had no teeth in it. because he was trying to compare it to Nancy Pelosi's bill immediately after George Floyd had died.
Yeah.
Which even that is incorrect. That bill had teeth. That bill arguably had more teeth in it than the George Floyd bill, because that bill, where the George Floyd bill has, it limits qualified immunity for police, where they can be charged, where they can be more easily charged for their criminal offenses. Nancy Pelosi's bill wanted to get rid of qualified immunity altogether. So you can argue that her bill actually had more teeth in it.
Yeah, I noticed that he, especially in this portion of the segment, he speaks about a lot of things that he didn't even research.
Yeah.
Like I said, he goes throughout interviews and he says, and the year is zero, which never existed, but this happened to this person. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he's bringing up the bills, but he's not telling you what's like the purpose of it and what it can do, the power behind it.
What's in them?
Yeah, what's in
At
them.
all.
And admits to not, being brushed up on what's in the bill.
Right.
So it's kind of like, well, why speak on it then?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the point in doing that? Because a lot of people look up to Dr. Umar in a way where they're getting facts from him. It's not opinions.
Yeah.
His adherents are receiving
true.
Facts from him in their mind.
Yeah.
So I think he just need to be a little bit more careful with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. If you don't know anything about it, say you don't know.
It's okay.
It's okay not to know. It's better than saying something and being wrong. But the last thing he said, I want to touch on, was the court settlements. He said, he wanted to make the court settlements come out of police unions and police pensions.
I thought that was interesting. It's you might be more hesitant.
You would be, but
this is gonna cost me for real.
The issue with it is that, and here's the problem with that: it sounds good on its face. Yeah. The issue with it, with taking it out of the police department, is two things. The first thing is that all police officers pay into the police pension, so you would be harming
the good,
even
the
the good police officers would be suffering, right? So you're reducing the amount of money in a police officer who is diligent in his duty for the actions of one who isn't. The second thing is that guess who funds the police departments?
Who?
We do. We do, fool. So guess what you're doing if you take money out of the police departments, out of the police unions?
What?
You're taking people's money anyway.
Oh, dang. For real? That's crazy.
That's crazy, huh? So if your purpose is, if you're saying that we don't want to take money from taxpayers because it's wrong to make taxpayers pay for the faults of police men and women. You're paying anyway. If we take it out of the police department, that's your money because you fund the police department. That comes out of your taxes.
Yeah.
The police pension, that comes out of your taxes. You're paying for that because you're paying for the police department. These are social what are these? Social democratic institutions where everybody pays for these things. It's like the fire department. If they decide to take money out of the fire department and give it to somebody else, they're taking your money because you pay for the fire department. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if we take it out of the police union or the police pension. It's still gonna be your money. It doesn't matter. So, yeah. There you go. That was probably a bad idea. But moving on.
These police murders, they all started under whose watch? Obama. And he didn't do nothing about it. And after Freddie Gray got his spine snatched from his brain, what Obama do 3 weeks ago? He ain't changed no laws. He ain't signed no executive orders. You know what he signed? He signed that blue alert law, making it almost impossible for you to fight back against the police who trying to unjustifiably take your life.
So you want to dissect that a bit?
Yeah. So
because this is probably the first time
a lot of people have heard about it. Right?
Yeah.
So Obama's blue alert law. You know those alerts you get on your phone, those Amber alerts when a child has been kidnapped and your phone suddenly vibrates, and they tell you, hey, keep a lookout for a white Pontiac.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Well, the blue alert law is for police if someone or a group of people are planning an attack on them. Guess what their phone does? It vibrates. And then the police, men and women at the department, get alerts on their phone that tell you, hey, there might be some type of attack or some kind of plan from a group against you.
Right.
That's what the blue alert is. Just like the Amber alert, but it's for police. It sounds reasonable, right? If somebody wants to assassinate or kill a policeman or woman.
So, okay, exactly.
Right.
And now that you've broken that down, we got to reel this in and get a deeper understanding, right? Because it's not just white people who are police officers. It's our family. It's our friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you are a cop, then it's your coworker. You know what I'm saying? And why wouldn't you want some kind of alert? Like if your dad was potentially under attack and you on the force too,
right?
Wouldn't you, you know what I'm saying, want that? Or like some of y'all have children that are cops now.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want their co-workers, the people who are out in the field with them, to get some kind of alert that would tell them, hey, this might be going down, and y'all might, have your head on the swivel, be looking out for something crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
Think about it from that aspect, because I think that when Umar says this, people only hear white people. Even though I know what's sensationalized mostly is that white people killing black people, right?
True that.
But it's like he's trying to tear down Obama in the process too. Yeah, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean,
because that's not what this was for.
Yeah. And I'm nowhere near the biggest Obama fan. I'm a harsh critic of him, of his, right? But I am willing to acknowledge when he does something right. This was
like
something
we did in this.
Right.
You do something right,
you deserve your credit.
You get you.
This was something that was okay that he decided to do. I don't have any problem with this. And keep in mind, this isn't for spur the moment situations where you get pulled over by the police and a fight breaks out and one of y'all gets shot. This isn't for that. This is for, hey, Jay Bell and I are getting together and we're planning to assassinate a police on his way home. That's what this is for.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And you can see that he chose his words wisely when he said that, because he didn't go into detail of what this was about. He just said, makes it almost impossible to fight back against police, which basically tells you nothing about the blue alert law. Tells you nothing.
Right.
That's kind of like a little slick quick little thing you gotta watch out for. But so that's why it's important to explain in detail what this is. So moving on.
Interracial marriage is eliminating the black family because it is not providing our women with enough available and able black men to be their husbands. They're selling the white man to the black woman. See, they want the black woman to think that there's a white man waiting for her somewhere. And the reason it's important for the black woman to think that there's a white man waiting for her somewhere is she will not stand up in defense of the black man when he's mass incarcerated and economically castrated. They want the black woman to forget about the black man so they can do away with the black man.
The last bit's about him talking towards interracial marriage and dating. A lot of what he said in that was true, actually. Women being 1 in 4 black women getting married, only
most women don't date down in status.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with that.
Of course.
A lot of what he said was accurate. The only things that we can really point out that was inaccurate or had asterisk next to it, it was questionable, was his idea that that interracial marriage is somehow eliminating the black family. That's entirely bogus. Like, I know that this is something that is pushed a lot on social media and that we hear a whole lot of it, but understand that it is absolutely not true. The black family has been growing exponentially as the years go by. There are more black people now than there have been. The only way that is possible is how? I don't know how biology works.
I mean, you know, when a mommy loves a daddy really much, a whole lot.
You know, one night behind the bar. But the black family has been growing in America. So to say that the black family is being eliminated by interracial marriage, of all things, completely false.
It's a bit bizarre because in the interview, he said that if you are half and half, he still consider you as black because black people have dominant genes.
He did say that.
So I'm just like, well, by that logic, wouldn't we just be growing even more so than what we are?
The more we spread our seed,
the more black and blacker and blacker and blacker it gets as time progresses. You know what I'm saying? And that's using his logic. That's using his words against him.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're going to be logically consistent, you can't say things like this because they conflict, and we hear this and we're not blinded by beautiful words or patterns of words and all of that.
That's not gonna happen. We're gonna call that out every time. So the idea of interracial marriage, of all things, eliminating the black family is not true. Black people black family, black presence in America has been growing. Not only that, but 85% of all black married men are married to black women. So this narrative that we hear all the time, we got black guys dating white women, and that's all they want. Like, this is untrue, fellas and ladies. This is not the reality. The reality is only a small percentage of black men marry outside of their race. Small percentage.
I think it's due in part to how we see what we look at social media celebrities. Because you'll see a lot of rich black celebrities with others. And I think people zero in on that small population of rich black people.
They assume it's all.
Yeah, and they make it seem way bigger than what it is. One of his other points was they want the black woman to forget about the black man. So they could do away with the black man. So that's they basically trying to sell our women this picture of a white savior or something like to that effect, right?
Yeah. That's what he said. That's what he said. I heard him say it.
Say it.
That is, to me, that's another tinfoil hat thing. Conspiracy theorists out of the world, like they're trying to do away with us by getting our women to marry other, but wouldn't their children
produce black
still be
children.
Black babies? Like, right? Like,
nah.
His logic, once again, you know what I'm saying? Even if you are a black woman and you marry a white man, your children are gonna be black.
Well, they that's true according to him.
That's his logic.
Yeah, and they don't want the black woman to stand up for the black man because she's so hyped up on the white savior, the Prince Charming.
That she won't. She won't fight for the black man when he's mass incarcerated and like women have been on the battlegrounds.
Facts
of these issues. Black women, like
big old facts.
What are you talking about?
Oh my God!
Black women who wrote the book The New Jim Crow? It was a black woman who wrote that book. Like, Who started the whole Black Lives Matter movement? Mm-hmm. Black women started that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, there's no, like, if there's any group of people that I can rely on, it's black women to do their due diligence and to handle business, because that's what they've been doing.
I tell you this, bro. Like, when the George Floyd situation happened, I had so many black women reach out to me, like on my cell, my inbox, not on the wild stuff, but just like trying to check on my well-being, making sure that I'm safe, knowing that I'm mentally exhausted by, emotionally exhausted by all of this stuff, and they were there, and they definitely know who they are, and I definitely let them know, like, much and all of this is appreciated. So I don't know what. That's not my experience, and I haven't seen like that.
Yeah, at all.
Like on a massive level at all. Like not enough to even make a point out of it. Like, what? But his talking points are just so. I don't know if it's melodic. It just be like, he gonna say this point, he gonna say that point. Yeah.
It's easy.
It's
easy, like, man. It's like, because he goes into this little rhythm, and it sound, and that's the brilliance of his sophistry. Because sophistry can really pull you in and make it sound like whatever you're saying. Wow, it's gotta be the truth, because it just sounds so good, man. Flipping and whipping rhymes. Man, the way he's doing it, and then ba 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 ba, and you know why ba ba ba? Because ba 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 and ba ba ba, yeah. And it's like, damn, I never thought about life like this.
Like ba ba ba,
like ba ba ba. It's not like
that's crazy.
It's wild, and that's the way And I'll never begrudge Dr. Umar for his way and his eloquence in speaking, because it's definitely a talent of his.
He speaks with so much conviction.
He does. He speaks with conviction. He comes off the top of the dome with it. He's eloquent when he speaks. So, and that's captivating. At the same time, I'm not the type of person to be captivated simply by your words. I'm past that. I can acknowledge that, wow, what he's saying is beautiful, but I'm always going to come back and say, I wonder if it's true, though.
Yeah, sometimes it's just sprinkles on a little doo-doo. It's still doo-doo.
Still a lot of doo-doo.
Sometimes it's just that.
What? You got final thoughts, man?
Yes, I do have final thoughts. And I'm going to do it a little different from like how I usually do it. I'm gonna do this as if I was talking to Dr. Umar on the other side of this camera. Actually, he's here. Dr. Umar,
can you come around?
Twist.
Chill out.
Nah, but here goes. All right, Dr. Umar. So I don't think you're a bad guy, right? I think that you want to see black people succeed. I just think that sometimes you go about it the wrong way. The reason I feel like this is because you do this whole semantics thing. You do this wordplay. Sometimes it just seems like you're not honest about what you're saying, like when you said you're a descendant of Frederick Douglass. People are thinking you're coming from, like you said in one interview, his loin, because that's usually how we use that. And you just mean that you're a distant cousin. Why do that? You know what I'm saying? If you can do that with that, then I assume that you can also do that with other things that you're doing. So what's the purpose of the wordplay? And that's why some black people have either not believed you from the jump or turned on you, because you sound like a politician at this point. And you spent so much time in this program talking about politicians when you sound like one yourself sometimes. So you need to apply introspection and check yourself instead of trying to check black people for not supporting you when we don't see the work. You want free labor so that the school could be done in 3 weeks, right? My man, you've been trying to do this whole school situation for how many years now? You done raised how much money? And you saying that all progress stops because of 3 weeks worth of like money that you could raise and give to those guys who really would deserve money for their effort and time to help with the school.
It is a job.
Yeah. So, Dr. Umar, you saying all these great things, right? And you want us to believe what you're saying. And you want black people to be educated. Well, why don't you give them the tools? You say you want to build the school, do it. Get it done. There are so many people that are supporting you, even with all the things people are saying. And this is from one brother to another brother. I get that you call yourself the prince of Pan-Africanism. And that's cool. I love me, I love us. And I get that off of you sometimes, but I always think that you gotta knock off the politics, bro. Talk to me regular.
I think my final thoughts are just a little different. Usually when I decide who I'm gonna listen to, who I'm gonna take information from, it's a few things. Mostly it's how accurate they are, right? So, and that's me personally when I'm looking into who to follow, who to trust. So, because I've gotten a whole lot of questions and things about why do this? Why are we talking about Dr. Umar? Why level this criticism at him? Well, it's because he's a public figure and he's speaking directly to us, to my people. So I think that deserves criticism. Being who you are, that deserves a little microscope into what you do, what you said, and what you mean when you say. So when I'm choosing who to listen to, you at least have to be correct in the 80th percentile, at the very least, before I give your words credence without looking into them. And for me, Dr. Umar has yet to cross that threshold. So far, even in this interview, he's been at most 50-50. At best, I would say 60-40 on the wrong side of what he said. Or he said the right things, but pushed the wrong narrative within that. Or said the right thing, but left a caveat out of it.
Right.
To me, that's not good enough. You need to do better. He needs to do better. And that's why we made this video. To show the things that he was wrong about. And how wrong a person could be in one interview about what they've said. So, some of the things he was right about. And we'd offer him credit for that. A lot of the shit he was wrong about. Too much for me to say I will trust Dr. Umar in whatever he says. And that's the point of this whole video, is to say we as people need to have better discernment of who we decide to lend our money to lend our time to. Because as you said, I haven't even to this moment brought up the school, because that's a whole nother thing to me. But how much money has he gotten from it and hasn't
over $1 million
finished it yet? And we keep getting pushed back. I think discernment is what's necessary right now, because we can't afford as black people to just continue dumping our money into situations or into someone who may not provide, who may not deliver. And that's what it seems like. It seems like he's not going to deliver. And you know why he's not going to deliver? Because more than half of the shit that he says is incorrect. Or he's trying to push a narrative that isn't real. So, of the black people watching, I would say if you are a Dr. Umar supporter, have a little more discernment. Look into what he says, because I guarantee you everything he says isn't correct, or he's leaving something out. We went through an hour-long video and we found several things that were wrong. More than half. I think that's enough to say, does he have our best interest at heart? I'm just here to ask questions anyway. But thank you for listening through this whole thing. It's been a bit of a struggle to fight through. We'll get back to some more lighthearted stuff in our next video. Appreciate y'all tuning in and listening. But I mean, I had fun doing it.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool doing it. But
yeah.
But so again, I'm B. Ryder,
J. Bell,
and this has been Final Thoughts.